I want to play some of this, some of my new song. Dear family, it's your cousin P, so black and so beautiful, so brown and so beautiful, so beautiful, so beautiful. I pray all is well out there in the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, master of day of judgment. Thee alone do we serve, thee alone do we seek help. O Allah, guide us on the right path, the path upon those who have bestowed favors, not upon those whose wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray. For surely praise magnified. Amen. How y'all feeling out there? I pray all is well, man. I'm trying to look for a few things. Me and one of my closest persons in the world, which is Dee Dee, we're going to do a podcast tonight. Hopefully we get to it. But I want to get to this podcast I was going to do by myself. And maybe if I could finish it in time, I could tap D in and we could wrangle over the subject titles that we have. So, let me see. So let me go to the subject title. Let me go to the subject title. One of the subject titles is when you have feelings for someone you can't have, what should you do? Let's get everybody in the room on this one, because this one should be, I thought this one would be very unique, very informative, and without a doubt, one for the ages where you could become a critical thinker. When you have feelings for someone you can't have, what should you do? And the other podcast that me and Dee were going to do is the difference between friendship versus a relationship. So at this time, we're going to jump off in this podcast. When you have feelings for somebody that you can't have. Hold on. Hold on. I'm fixing some tweaks in here that I'm going to delete this one and redo it. So it was, I misspelled can. It should have been cant. It should have been cant. My bad, dear family. So the subject title is when you have feelings for somebody that you can't have, what should you do? I've come across this subject because I get a lot of questions in my DM on situations that occur or these type of events when a man, when one of my family members may have interest in somebody and unable to have what they want in the woman, or when women have interest in a man and have feelings for that man but can't have that man in the manner in which they want. My advice to that is to damn, that's a good question. What should you do? I've always said stop making things what you want them to be and accept them for what they are. I genuinely believe that the emotional state of mind blinds the woman and the man that don't want to deal with intelligence or logic, and the emotion of the feel good mechanism begin to blind you and pacify you on what you think can be opposed to what you know it is. So you get involved in this situation, liking something, wanting something, possibly knowing if the person has a situation or not. But I'm sure that conversations have been addressed to stipulate what type of situation you are in. And the emotional state of mind blinds you from the reality of what it is, you know, and you get caught up lusting and liking and wanting more than what that individual was able to give you. Won't you vibe with the vibe and accept the energy for what it is? When you try to stretch things, you do yourself a disservice. If the individual has told you what something is, do not take it upon yourself to justify what you want it to be. You do yourself a disservice, and ultimately you're going to hurt yourself emotionally and painfully, believing or suggesting that because he made me feel good, now you are entitled to this relationship condition or this relationship stipulation. I believe that men and women have to stop playing victim. You play victim too much on what your emotion feel. Remember, emotion is movement. It's emotion is movement. And if you ain't governed by no structured disciplines, no structured understanding in your personal being, then you could be easily led astray and you're a weak man or a weak woman. Because when you assume what you think something is, opposed to asking what it is, then it goes to show that you uncertain yourself because you was afraid to ask the question, or you suggested to yourself this passionate feeling that you are engaging in with the individual has solidified that now you are more than what it initially is. I just want to say, and I'll close because I didn't want to be long, don't do yourself a disservice, because the expectation of what you assume without conversation and agreement will destroy the fabric of your mind, your soul, and ultimately cause you pain. You have to be wise in the hour, and you have to be an adult. Far too many times, women and men deal with things immaturely, childishly, or irresponsibly. You have to step up your responsibility to yourself and ask the questions. And if the question doesn't fit what you want, you have an option to leave. You have an option to leave. But if you choose to stay and engage with that woman or engage with that man, don't you get in your emotional state of being, your emotional mind, and then play victim as if you don't know what it is. You have to stop that, sister, and you have to stop that, brother. If the woman say we just friends, let it be what it's going to be until a conversation is had. If the man say you just friends, woman, quit expecting because you give him an intimate relationship that it has grown to something else. Yes, I believe the man do respect you. Yes, I believe the woman respects you, brother. But there's levels to life. And you have to stop assuming and guessing and deal with actual facts in your life, or you going to have the same results. Same results. Let down, disappointment, aggravated, and and constantly being irresponsible to yourself. You should slap yourself. That's what I think you should do. You should actually slap yourself for not respecting yourself more, to stand on what somebody say it is and what it ain't. You should slap yourself for getting that deeply involved when you know exactly what it is. All I'm saying, brothers and sisters, is we have to start loving ourselves more. If you don't want if you don't want the pain to come, you have to start respecting what something is. You have to start asking questions. Don't set yourself up for failure, brother, with no woman that has suggested to you that we could be friends. And the minute she give you a little something, something, you think you own her. Why do you think that? She sport and play just like the man sport and play. She have want, needs, and likes just like the man have want, needs, and likes. She focused on whatever she's doing in her life. She don't want to be committed to certain things. That's her choice. Don't take the choice out of her hand, brother, by your masculinity, forceful behavior, thinking because she enjoyed a moment or two with you or had dinner with you and shaking a hand and meeting a friend and being, just a friend. That is more than that. Unless you have sat down with that woman and asked that woman what type of situation this is or where we going. Don't take the choice out of that woman's hand to determine this is a physical and full relationship now. Nah, you can't do that. It's irresponsible to you. Brother, ask the woman the questions. What is this? Where are we going? And then you leave it there until a conversation is had. And sisters, quit playing damn victim because you shared sweaty relations. You wanted just as much as he wanted. Quit playing victim when you find yourself emotionally attached without a proper compensation. When are you going to do yourself a service, a proper and just service, as in the old days? Ask questions. Hold yourself accountable. Because if you get caught up in some bullshit, you're going to get the same, you're going to be charged with the same shit the brother going to be charged with. What I mean by, if two people involved in a crime, they both get charged with the crime. You just can't play victim and say, "Oh, I don't know what it was." Yes, you do. So on the relationship term, if it hasn't been spoken on what it actually is, don't you go assuming. You make an ass out yourself in the situation, and then this is how many relationships fall apart because you assuming one thing. You look assuming one thing, but ain't spoke about it. He assuming another thing and ain't spoke about it. But all you know is that you sharing good energy. The sex is good. The conversation is good. The meet and greet is good. The movies is good. The dinner is good, and you having a good time. But did he agree to commitment to you? That's one of the things that you have to understand. If you ain't committed, don't you go, claiming something that ain't yours. If he ain't said, "Baby, I'm committing myself to you." If she ain't said, "I'm going to commit myself to you," quit thinking otherwise. You make you make a fool out of yourself and others. This is part one. I'm finna get on the phone with D and we gonna come with something explosive. If you have any questions now, drop them low. But just a reminder, men and women, stop playing victim. Man, stop playing victim. I've got inboxes over inboxes on people assuming certain things, asking Cousin P questions. "Cousin P, what you think about this?" And we did this. Did he say that he wanted to be in a committed relationship with you? Did he say that? Did he suggest that? Have you talked about it? Well, then, won't you accept it for what it is and not what you want it to be? If you fallen deeply in love, and you don't know where this is going, say we need to have a conversation. And then you could pick and choose what this direction you want to go in. But don't make an ass out yourself, sister. Don't do it. Because people can have respect and love for one another and be in a mutual agreement with one another and don't go beyond that. And that means that those individuals are very wise and intelligent and responsible to themselves. So when you engage in with any other energy, always identify the characteristics on what you're dealing with, because there's some savages out here mentally. There's people 40 and 50 years old, men and women, still acting like they in the game somewhere, cursing, raggedy, all outdoors, just nasty, having no other way to articulate or express themselves. So you may get yourself caught up in some foolishness with a savage and find yourself in jail or something, or find yourself in an uncomfortable situation and all that. Just matching their words. I was just talking to a friend of mine, D, and we was talking about actions say one thing, words say another one. But if you tune in, you should be able to identify through all the transmitted energy on how they feel, what's really going on, whether they playing games or not, and what direction it's going. So people could say a lot out their mouth, and this is why the scriptures say you confess with your tongue, but it says you confess with your tongue, but your actions are far removed. But people can even display actions of love, actions of harmony, yet still being a discipline on what they said it is. So don't get twisted in none of them. Rico the Great, what's up, family member? Man, we had a good time, man. We was waiting on you to come, man. But I understand that mom's was down, man. I pray that mama got better. But with that said, dear family, if you have any more questions, I'm going to get to this podcast with D. what's the difference between a friendship and a relationship and friend. That's going to be powerful. I'm at the palace, man. I'm at the palace. So with that said, if you ain't got no questions, I'm going to shut this down. This is part one. We're going to keep pushing. I'm only giving out information that I may even talk to myself as I talk to you. But when something's on my heart, I got to get it out. Cousin Pete from the beach, so black and so beautiful, so brown and so beautiful, so beautiful, so beautiful. And we each one teach one. And we come together not to shame anybody, but to get things collectively done so we may mature both in the mind and get different perspectives other than our own. So I do these podcasts for all those reasons. May Allah bless you. I got all my kids here. They finna get to knocking on my door. But I'm finna get back on this podcast and we're gonna come with another subject title and we're gonna dig deeper. And I will have the special guest in the house, D, man. I love D to death. I've been knowing her over 30 years. A woman of integrity, a woman that's responsible, a woman that pushes me even in my art and my performance and my music. Very supportive. I can't say enough about T. Very intellectual, very wise woman. And I want to suggest you all to start listening to Delitra Richards. Y'all can go check her out on her website. Pardon me, on her social media platforms. She powerful with the wisdom. Well, we finna come back and nail it where it needs to be. But I close with, it's in the best interest to vibe on the level the energy is vibing. Don't take it up. Don't take it down. You got to connect. It's all about connecting. Don't try to move too fast. You're going to break the connection. Don't move too slow. You're going to break the connection. You got to be one with, one in accord. And you vibe. You know what I'm saying? So keep the vibe and the energy going. You know what I'm saying? And when there's discrepancy or questions that need to be asked, ask them intelligently and gather information. Don't move emotionally. Gather information and say, okay, I see where you are. That don't mean you stop, you start acting funny and stuff. That's immature. You gather the information after your conversation and you think about it. And then you come back to the table and you say, well, I think, I want more for myself. It's time for me to move in a different direction. And that's how you are able to salvage relationships. You able to salvage your relationship with the individual that you got love for. And because you not working out in a relationship, because you're not working out the way you want it to work out, you still in harmony with the individual, but you have to do everything intelligently. You have to do everything wisely, because sometimes a woman comes into your life, brother, or a man comes into your life. It ain't always about a relationship. Yeah, you may get sexually engaged in relationships, but sometimes you got to look past your nose and see the purpose of the human being that's in your life. It ain't always about sex. It might be for God to using this person as a vessel to bring you a word, to uplift you, to carry you on and not give you knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And all you want to do is find favor in a relationship. Every time you engage with a human being, it's not always about a relationship. Stop that, brother, and stop that, sister. You do yourself a disservice because you want it to be a relationship while it's just friendship or friends. And then you destroy the fabric of what it can be, which is genuine. And then y'all not talking no more because you believe he misled you or she believed you misled her, but it was never no conversation had. So do yourself a disservice and ask the questions to get directions that you may know what it is. And when you know what it is, you know how to move. And sometimes it is because some women and women gain healing through sex. Facts. So with that said, I'm going to tap back in 10 minutes on this podcast. Me and D finna come at you, all right? May Allah bless y'all. It's your cousin P from the beat. And I salute y'all. The album coming out. My album is coming out, and it's gonna be one of the, I'm doing big video shoots in Berkeley. It's gonna be dope. Y'all, and I'll tell y'all on the next podcast who I got on the album. Keisha Cole, one of them. I salute Keisha for showing me love too. Peace. I see y'all.